Hey, good morning. How is everybody? Happy Monday. I just wanted to touch base. I was doing some Facebook Lives for a time, and then I stopped for a while, and I thought it was just a good time to kind of get back to talking to you guys. And I picked a really strange Monday to do it. I'm still at home. Ordinarily, I would be at the studio right now. But we had a shooting last night on the Paramount lot about midnight, somewhere around there. There were like 30 police cars all over the Paramount Gate on Melrose. It's the famous gate you've probably seen in 1,000 movies and all. So they have the Paramount lot shut down right now. It's on lockdown. They've caught the guy. And no question about that. They have him, and I don't know if he was shot or whatever, but because of the investigation, they say they have to have everything locked down, taped off or whatever, so we can't even get on the lot. I usually go in at like 7 o'clock, but now they say we can't get on the lot until noon. So all of our guests, experts, everything is just kind of on hold. So we'll see what happens. That's a big lot. I mean, this covers acres. And this was one guy in one corner of the lot. And we're way on the other corner, but you got to let them do what they got to do. You'd hate to get on there and step on evidence or something and let somebody get away with something they shouldn't have gotten away with. So anyway. A couple of things I wanted to do this morning. One, I want to talk about what's going on in this lockdown and quarantine. I've had a couple of interviews that you can find on WebMD with Dr. White, the medical director of WebMD, that I think have been, he has really good questions. And we've talked about kids and families and all. So there's good information there if you want to check that out. But we're going to talk about that. I tell you what I've been doing. I've not been spending a lot of time on Dr. Phil talking about quarantine and pandemic. And there's a definite reason why. I think we need some normalcy. Right now, everything, we're just in the middle of so much politics and pandemic and quarantine. It just seemed to me like everybody needed to kind of get back to some normal things in life: family, marriage, kids, relationships, pursuit of life, liberty, and all the things that are so important to us. And I just have felt like that's what we needed. I got information one time that the number one show in Iraq was the Dr. Phil show, and they asked everybody why that was true, and they said because we're so war-torn, it's the only show that kind of talks about family and all, and that's kind of stuck in my mind, that people were huddling up in the middle of all that strife just to talk about things that used to be on their radar. So that's what we're doing on Dr. Phil. And I hope you find time to carve out and talk about those things. Some of them are serious, some of them are funny, some of them are things you would think, my God, surely you've got something better to do than this. And I try to choose shows that some are serious and some we just shake our head at and think, wow, my life wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Today's show is really interesting. We've got two young girls that were really friends, Joni and Gina. And these girls are in their 20s, both young, attractive, energetic. And Joni's dad started dating her friend Gina, and he's like 50-something, an older guy, and he starts dating this 20-something friend of his daughter, who does that? I mean, she doesn't have the right to tell her dad what to do, but there's an awful lot of fish in the sea. And even if you wanted to date somebody half your age, why choose your daughter's friend? How awkward is that? Then they hid it from her. Then she found out about it. And she's always had a problem with him not spending a lot of time with her, not taking her places, not doing things with her. And then when she does find out about it, she sees all over social media, he's taking her on vacations. He's flying around in helicopters. He's going down to Miami, and he's going to Cancun. He's doing all these places with this friend of hers that he would never take her to do those things, but he's taking the friend. So then it gets more deeper and intertwined. And these two face off for the first time with Dad sitting there like a bump on a log. So I don't know. I found it interesting. It got into a big fight on social media, and yeah, I'll be really interested in what you guys think about it and what you have to say about it. And by the way, I've been going on to Facebook and reading what you're saying, going on to Instagram, different social media platforms, and commenting, seeing what you think. After the shows, I've got something I've started doing, posting up, called The Bubble Over My Head. So what I've been doing is I go out after the show and talk about why I did what I did, what I was thinking while I did it, and give you an idea of what the strategy was, what my thinking was, why I said what I said, didn't say what I didn't say, what I couldn't say on the air because of the FCC, maybe, I don't know. I'm just giving you the kind of unfiltered version of what I was thinking while the show was going on. The bubble over my head, so to speak. Tomorrow we've got a woman on that's been married 10 times and she can't figure out why she can't get it right. My God, 10 times. I thought about, I've been a pilot since I was a teenager. I was thinking about if I'd been at the airport and taken off and crashed 10 times, I think I would walk. I don't know that I would continue getting in an airplane and taking off. After 10 times, maybe you're supposed to be single. The common denominator is definitely you, but she doesn't see it that way. Her kids are there. They've got a definite view, which is very different than hers. They have a very different view. And interesting, she used to be the church lady. Every time the church doors were open, she was down there. And yeah, I don't know. She certainly made a switch. So anyway, we're kind of curious why she is getting married 10 times. And we hear from some of the ex-husbands. She went and asked them. So we did a follow-up show this week too. Some of you guys are really interested in some of the most difficult to deal with guests that we have. We do some follow-ups that are really interesting. You remember a gang kid that was into gangs. We talk about what happened to him. You're going to be really shocked. You might remember I had an LA gang member, former gang member, come on and talk to him. And actually the gang member has stayed in touch with him, Joe Lucero, who was really deep into the gang life, and he talked to him and has stayed in touch with him and been mentoring some. But wow, we do have an election coming up, and I've got some questions from some of you guys. Autumn Woods says, will we ever go back to normal? You know, I don't know. You know, we always talk about the term new normal. Isn't that maybe where we're headed, is to a new normal? Like, for example, we don't have any live audiences in the studio anymore. We have a virtual audience that we're piping into the screens, but we've got it really dialed in where we can talk to them and see what's going on. And it's been very different. If you haven't been watching, you need to tune in and see what's going on, because we're really having some different things happening. We can't fly guests in from around the country anymore. We're having to get people there, and strangely enough, some of these virtual guests that we're having to do by Zoom or whatever, it's working out okay. But we've had guests drive all the way from the East Coast to get here to talk about what's going on in their lives. It's that important to them. And I've been really impressed with their commitment. Will we ever get back to live audience? I don't know. Will we get back to people being on airplanes and flying in for the show? I don't know. But we're definitely going to do some things different. I think we are going to have to adopt some new hygiene trends and stuff, and I don't think we can just decide we have quarantine fatigue, so we're going to get out there and start doing what we used to do because we're tired of it. I don't think we can do that. I think we need to follow the guidelines. We're moving into cold and flu season here. That means we're going to be more vulnerable. We need to remember. Rebecca Hamilton says, seasonal depression is coming upon us as well as depression from being stuck at home. What are coping mechanisms to help this? Well, first off, I think we have to really be focused on, what the holidays are all about. The holidays are about togetherness and being, there for the people that we love and care about and those that are less fortunate than us. And I really hope during this time, adhering to safety guidelines, maybe we're not going to be able to have family fly in from halfway across the country. Maybe we have to do it like you and I are talking right now, electronically. But let's plan for that. Let's spend that time together, and let's see if there are some things maybe we haven't done in the past that we can find people in our own community that are maybe in need, people that are really lonely, that we can, following safety guidelines, we can reach out and share some time and some things with them. I've often said the fastest way to fill up a void in your life is to give away that which you need the most. If you're feeling lonely, then reach out to somebody that is maybe even more lonely than you. Maybe you've got somebody living on the corner, or somebody in your building that's maybe elderly and they live alone. Reach out to them. Go knock on their door, step back 8 or 10 feet and say, hey, you don't know me. I'm a neighbor. I just thought I'd stop and say hi. How are you doing? Are you okay? A friendly voice, a face with a smile on it can make a huge difference. Maybe you say, look, you probably don't want to give your phone number to a stranger, but here's mine. If you need something, call me. I don't know, do you have a computer? Does it have FaceTime on it? Maybe I can walk you through how to use it. We can talk that way. I'm going to the store. Can I pick something up for you? Do you need something? Can I mow your yard? Can I help with something? I promise you, the fastest way to fill yourself up is give that which you need the most. So, particularly during the holidays, nothing feels better than giving to somebody that which you think you really, really need. Cora Worcester Woshine, I can't pronounce your last name, I'm sorry. My husband and I are fighting. He won't stop talking politics, and it's making me exhausted and depressed. I can't seem to focus on day-to-day things. And with COVID, I'm afraid most of the time my kids are getting it, or me, or my spouse. Look, it's all about boundaries. Sadly, the divorce rate has really spiked during this quarantine. It has. Divorce has just gone through the roof. So we really are getting on each other's nerves. Sit down and talk about some boundaries. Say, we're going to talk politics. It's going to be an hour a day. That's it. Nothing else. We're going to talk about something else. Tell him to go get in a chat room or something, or go get on some group where they talk politics and talk to them, but not to you. You don't want to hear it. Make sure that you put up boundaries. You have the right to do that. Protect yourself. Susan Rockwood Galliant says, how can we best parent our children, given that this is something that none of us have ever experienced in our lifetime? Well, you just said it. We're learning as we go along, and we have to put responsibilities on our children for sure. Look, kids have to grow up, and it's not easy, but make sure that they're pulling their own weight and they're contributing. They need to be helping around the house. They need to be cleaning their own rooms. They need to be helping in meal preparation. They need to be taking responsibility for getting their school lessons done, things of that nature. So if everybody divides up the labor, then you have more time to work on the relationship and do fun things. If everything you ever deal with in your relationship are problems, you have a problem relationship. Make sure you're having fun. Make sure you're carving out time with your kids to get out in the yard and play games. If they're into video games, try to learn what it is they like about them. Play the game with them. Do some things that they enjoy. If you're going to parent kids effectively, you need to meet them where they are and not just them meeting you where you are. Carrie Mogowan says, my brother struggles with depression, and since being furloughed due to the pandemic, he's been dragging his feet to go back out and find another job. How do I motivate him to stop living off unemployment and only playing video games all day, every day? Wow. That's happening a lot, obviously. And you really have to talk to him about it and say, listen, the tendency for bodies at rest to remain at rest is inertia. And days turn into weeks and weeks turn into months. You can't let that happen. You've got to limit yourself. You've got to get out there and find something to do. It may not be the same job you had before, but if you allow yourself to become a couch potato, if you just veg in front of a screen, that gap between you and the workforce is going to get wider and wider and wider, and it's going to be harder and harder to close. Stay in the game. Get out there. Interact. Stay in the game. Don't let a month turn into 6 and 6 months turn into a year. You're going to find it so hard to get back in the workforce. Get out there now. Do something now. Even if it's volunteer, get out there. Stay engaged. Stay involved. Let me tell you, those 4 walls can become very, very high and difficult to get over and get back out there into the workforce. You cannot become inert. You have to stay involved and engaged. Mandy Christina says, how would you suggest dealing with cabin fever madness with couples specifically? Same thing. You got to get out. Listen, you're much less likely to catch this virus outside than you are inside. Get out. Go to the track. Walk. Take your dogs for a walk. Get outside. Do things together. You're quarantined together. Find some things you like to do. Nature hikes. Go do something where you're outside of the house. Those walls can close in on you. There are safe things. It doesn't have to just be sports. It can just be outside. Garden. Take over yard work. Wash your own cars if you haven't done that in the past. Do something where you're outside expending energy and breathing fresh air and do it together. You have no idea what you can explore as a couple if you get off the couch and get outside. But you never get a hit if you're not swinging. Get out there. Do something. Activity. The universe rewards action. So you've got to take action. Get out there. I really appreciate it. I'm looking. Haley Myers, thanks for being here. Debbie Ham, thanks for being here. Pam, thanks for being here. Michael Mendoza, thanks for being here. Tanya Lynn, thanks for being here. Dorothy Price, I appreciate you guys. I do pay attention to what you're saying. I'm going to sign off now because I got to get in the car and I got to get to Paramount because I think they're getting ready to open the gates and I can do a show. But I'll be checking in with you guys. I'll probably be back again on Thursday, FaceTime on Thursday. If you've got questions, let me know. And after today's show, the show that airs today about the 2 girls fighting over one of them's dad, I guess the other one's soon going to be her stepmother. I'm going to be on here answering your questions and participating in your conversations. So I enjoy talking to you guys. You're what makes this show work. So Thanks. Tell your friends to tune in. We're doing some different things, and it's a great break from all the political noise and pandemic noise. So call your friends. Y'all watch it together, talk about it. We've got discussion groups on Facebook, and I'm going to be popping into those. So I'll see you later. I'm going to find the sign off button here and go do a show so you'll have something to watch. So long.